Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Ian Cordle, aka the Dentologist, coming to you live today. I got a great topic here today. In fact, I've got a great guest joining me, David White, formerly, let's get this straight here, formerly with Dent Wizard. No longer. He has literally just started his own company. His first day was yesterday. So we're going to have him on today. First, I would like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Mobile Tech Shade, Simply the Best, Rain or Shine, and Dent Man Tools. Jesse's got some great tools there in his arsenal. If you haven't seen those, you need to get on there and check them out. But we're going to bring Dave White, now CT Dent Works, I believe. I might have it wrong, but he will correct me. So let's have him join on in here. David, how are you, buddy? Oh, and then we lost him. So as always, live shows, we got these guys right out in the middle of the middle of the trenches here, making it happen on a daily basis. So let's see if we can try this again. David, how are you, buddy? I love it. Well, you know what? I'm full of hot air, so I got plenty to say here while we're waiting for Dave to come back in here. Couple key things I wanted to bring up here with David. Starting a new business isn't easy, especially in 2020. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and it has to be tough, or the decisions to do this. Here he is. Let me bring him back on. Hey, David.
Sorry, buddy. I don't hung up sitting in that waiting lounge where it kept telling me my call ended, and then it would come back on and go, call ended. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Crazy computers, dude. It's a story of my life. I know everyone that's been watching The Dentologist, it's like it's a roll of the dice, man. Are we going to be able to hear what he's saying? What the heck's going on? Well, thank you for coming on into The Dentologist live here. I was just stating how the decision making, or the decisions that had to be made to leave something that you've been with, a team atmosphere, Dent Wizard, for so many years. How many years were you with him?
A little over 23.
So something like that, being with him that long, and where we're at right now for 2020, with I was saying the pandemic and everything else going on in the world, that had to have definitely been some soul searching. I know you and your wife probably had a lot of late nights up talking and deciding about this. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say the initial decision was hard, and it was made before COVID was a factor. And I had a scheduled departure back in early March, mid-March, when that was my initial, termination of employment, and then COVID hit. And then my relationship with the company kind of came into play, where they actually came to me and said, hey, why don't you ride this thing out and hang out, because we don't know where this is going to go. And my respect for them was huge. I mean, I've always respected my managers, but this was like an overwhelming, something they didn't have to do. So,
it's true.
Hang on, ride it out with us.
Well, shoot, man, you have a 23-year relationship with anybody. You have 23 years, of history with someone, whether it's the company, the team atmosphere, the people that you've helped, come up, the accounts that you've established. There's a lot of history there, and kudos to them for, coming to you and having your concerns at heart, because I'll tell you, I've worked for franchises where that wasn't the case. You definitely had a good one. I mean, it's obvious 23 years being with somebody, but again, having those conversations during all this and just saying it's time to chop it down, time to make this happen and everything, hey, kudos to you for doing that. And I'll tell you, I have to say this, and this comes from, knowledge of running my own business for several years. Dude, you're not going to ever look back. I swear to God, you're not going to look back, man. You're going to rock and roll it. You're a great guy, and you have a lot to offer people and everything. Now, let's hear a little bit about your company here. It's CT Dent Works.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, CT. I see you got your hat on, man. You're repping your company.
No, that's from. I have no gear yet. This is how fresh this is. So I'm searching my wardrobe, going, all right, whose stuff am I wearing today? So.
All right.
The independent.
Hey, shout out. That's going to be. I love it because you know what? I couldn't see what was actually on your hat or what was actually on your shirt, dude. So, you know, I thought you were rolling with it. I thought you already had everything going here. So that's a hint for all you guys and gals out there that have gear. He needs t-shirts and hats. He will independent. I love it. He's going to be repping your center for a little bit until he gets his stuff up and running.
Got to make some money before I can spend any money. So
that's very true. That's very true. We're gonna get on those topics here. You know, especially I had posted that intro video, the pictures and stuff that you sent me. Before we get into that, I want to kind of introduce David White to the world. Everybody knows David White. I mean, this guy is the crazy man that came on like the Mr. 1980s flashback there for the Dent Olympics, you know, drinking beer like water and flowing the mullet like it was, you know, today's news. And I'll tell you what, I saw those pictures that you had sent and the quad. I'm a quad man myself. I like riding quads. I actually switched from the whole dirt bike scene to quad riding and then put an exuberant amount of money into my quads. I've had 2 strokes and 4 strokes and everything, but you were racing them?
Yeah, I'm the generation of 3-wheelers. So I grew up, my father was, just a quick backstory here. My father was one of the first Americans to qualify for a British national. He was in the Air Force. We lived in England for a little bit. And I grew up riding dirt bikes with my old man. 3-wheelers came along, and like anything, you know, any young kid, you're intrigued by the new and, you know, new and exciting. So I started riding 3-wheelers and then got into quads after that. And then it wasn't until I'm a late bloomer on everything. I'm always late to the gate. I'm a late independent here, but I was late 20s when I found out that I could race that thing locally and didn't realize how much was available to me. I was out riding around and ran into some dudes that were riding around, and I'm like, man, your bike's really cool. What is all this stuff? And then we start talking a little bit and telling me how they race. And I'm like, well, I want to race. And little by little, I got into it. The picture, I believe, I'm on the yellow quad in the air, which was down at, it was in Maryland at one of the racetracks there. That quad was probably about $25,000 after it was built.
Dude, you could put a lot of money into those suckers, dude. You put a lot of money. I got a quad still that's about that, dude. You know, these guys have all these side-by-sides, and it's like, dude, I cannot let my quad go. I've got literally way too much money into this thing, and it just sits. So if I get a chance to, once or twice a year to get on it and rip it, it's fun. But boy, I'll tell you, I've got quite a bit of money in my quad too.
Are you a 2-stroke or 4-stroke?
I used to be a Banshee man. I had a couple different Banshees, and then and I mean the works, you know, work shocked, all, you know, slide cast Hauser stuff on it, and then I went to the Raptor 700. 450 was cool, but man, you know, seeing that 700, it was like, oh, I got to go with that one. So then it was, you know, deck it out, motor, you know, same thing, you know, I mean, everything from steering stabilizers to shocks to, you know, rims and you name it, you know, everything had to go on it. And, you know, you can go broke. You can literally go broke.
Well, I was looking at you and thinking, all right, this guy got into quads. You had one of two, which either would have been a Quadzilla or the Banshee. You got that aura about you, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go stupid fast on something stupid big. So and if I fall, man, just leave me there. Just leave me there, man, because it's gonna hurt. I've had 2 ambulance rides, and I don't even want to think about that anymore. It's half the reason I have a hard time.
That's the one thing, man. If you ride dirt bikes, you ride street bikes, you ride Harleys or whatever, eventually,
you fall.
You're gonna kiss the ground.
Yeah.
You know, eventually gonna kiss the ground. We got a couple different people out in the audience commenting here. My next one is a Can-Am. Those 1000 XMRs are, yeah, those are pretty cool, man. And then we got, let's see, sold my Banshee last year. You know, I feel you. When I sold my Banshee, even though I had a cool Raptor and I was having all this stuff done to it, man, it was like, dude, the sand dunes.
Yeah,
you know, taking people's money. They had no idea how fast this thing was, and you know, just good memories, man. I mean, great memories. We lost him here, but I know he'll be back in a second. There he is. You know what? And we lost the volume on you. So why don't you click out, come back in, and then we'll start the conversation about your business here. I love talking about, you know, different things that excite, you know, us guys and gals out there, you know, what we do on our pastime for fun. It's neat because a lot of times it's the same darn thing. We're all kind of in this together, and we have a lot of the same interests here. We're going to bring him back on here.
It ain't Memorex, folks. It's alive.
That's exactly it, man. Hey, with that, you know, we definitely have a lot of same interests. I was just saying, a lot of Dent guys are the same thing. You know, you start having a conversation with them and it's like, oh, really? You got that? Dude, I've been doing that for a while. Yeah, oh, yeah. You know, and before you know it, you're striking up a conversation. There's so many great people in the industry. But, you know, this topic of this show is about you and starting your new business. So this is day number 2.
Day number 2.
Wow.
It's fresh.
Wow, man. You are a newbie. I love it, man. Well, I got a couple questions for you here. And, you know, or actually maybe tips for starting your business and stuff. Have you gone or talked to, or do you have planned to talk to any of the local car washes around where you are?
No, I haven't planned on it. I will consider it. My downfall with that is my experiences in the past that they only have the car for a certain amount of hours. So it becomes a on demand, like, hey, can you get here in the next 30 minutes or an hour? So I struggle with that a little bit. I've just finishing up 23 years worth of, hey, I need you here now. You know, with the old dealership.
That's my biggest worry too. That was one of my biggest worries too. But you know what I really had a great take. You know, and a lot of it has to do with where I'm at, the city I'm in. But you know, it doesn't have to be like that. You could set your pace from the minute you introduce yourself to anybody. That's the beautiful thing about you owning your own company, is you can set your pace. Now, granted, it's not always like that where, you know, you're like, oh, no, I told you I only work Mondays from 2 to 2:30. And, you know, it doesn't work like that. I understand that. But still, to pass out that card to everybody, because you know what? Even if it is a rush situation, you're the card that was handed to them. And when you are ready to work, you're going to be the one that they call. And that's kind of the mentality that I've had, is I want everyone to know it's me. And I can't tell you how many times I have people come up to me and go, dude, I went to 5 different body shops. They all handed me your card. Then I went to the car wash, you know, because I'm starting to think about, where do I go? And do I really call this guy? And they're giving me your card. Your card's up on their front counter. And then I went to, you know, my friend's house and, you know, they're my barber, whatever. And it's up on the window of the barber shop. So you can't have enough of these people advertising for you, even if you're not on call. You know, so that's a true tip that I live and die by, man. You know, don't overstate yourself or overtalk yourself. In other words, don't already create.
Hold on.
You better get those notes, because it's coming this morning. You know, that's a huge thing. And that stands for a bunch of different guys, you know, to do that. I would say, dude, you didn't want to do the dealership scene anymore. The rush, got to do it now, you know. But are you going to do any dealerships? Let's say 1 or 2 of them were to call you, not them, you know, meaning the ones that you're already doing, but are you going to go ahead with that?
Yeah, I mean, contractual obligations here, I have to be careful with. If I were to find a dealership that had no affiliation with Dent Wizard at all, I would consider it, because I think having a weekly, I don't want to say cash cow, but I mean, a place that's going to provide you weekly work, especially at this stage, I think would be very beneficial to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not
another thing
question.
too is you can schedule your appointments. Here's another great key tip. Kevin Bird's out in the audience. What's up, Kev? How you doing, brother?
Birdman.
Hey, one great thing about having an account that you go to each day of the week, or you have a set schedule with them, is that when a retail call comes, you ask and you see where they're from. And if in fact they're in the area, now you've got a location for someone. Now, granted, you have to get the approval from the dealership, but once you're in, it's usually not a big deal to have a little meeting spot for customers to meet you. But now you got a spot for somebody to come and meet you at that dealership to give them an estimate or possibly do a retail job while you've got the clicker on, billing those cars. Right. I've been doing that for years. Excuse me, my compressor just went on. Gotta love it. Like, what the heck is that, man? The sky's falling. But yeah, having those accounts like that to where you can get a retail job in while you're doing your stuff, man, that's a pretty huge one here. What is this one here? Dealers can bring stability. Yes, they can. I agree. Mm-hmm. And they know a lot of the people in the area. They got connections that they can turn you on to. I know it's always the dealer, hey, my brother or my sister or my family member or my wife or something like that's coming down. And usually those aren't the highest payers. But you do what you got to do to make things happen here. What would be, to the audience, before I start asking some of the questions that I thought of, what would be some key things to help David with the first month, let's say, going on right now? We got Andy Patrick just wrote something. It just popped up. As soon as I started saying that, Andy has something to say here. Let's see what he said. Says, give me a call and he can help you with anything you need. I'm fresh to this independent scene too, and I'd be more than happy to give you, hey man, see, that's what I love about this industry. Everybody comes together. Everybody wants to help one another. Have you been getting a lot of calls from guys?
I've been getting some messages. Yeah. Guys reaching out and saying, hey, if you need anything, got any questions, feel free to give me a holler, seek out this person or that person. So again, very, very fresh into this and trying to absorb it as fast as I can. It's a new world. It's exciting and scary, if you would. There's nothing like a little fear to motivate your ass. You said a couple things. We talked real quick last night, and you said a couple things, and I jumped online and started researching some stuff that I hadn't considered. So I was poking around with that last night. I'm going to continue on with some of that stuff just to give myself an edge and get myself some recognition out there.
Get those footholds. Yeah. Get locked in, man. That's the way to do it. I'm glad that makes that excites me, man. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. Let's start with some of these questions here. And the questions that I had was, again, the car washes are, some people have different opinions about them. Like you said, I don't want the rush thing or whatever, but I'll tell you, the whole thing about having ends there, even when you're not there, the biggest thing about any technician or any business that's sole proprietor, doing paintless dent repair is you want the people out there in the field selling you constant. Even when you're not there, you got your warriors, man. You got your people on the front line that are selling you. So that's something to think about too. But the other thing is local car clubs. And dude, they're fun to go to the shows. It's fun. And I mean, you don't have to walk up and hand everybody your card or anything, because believe me, they will be coming to you, especially if, you have a cool car or you show up with one of your buddies that has a cool car. Now the conversation strikes up and, well, you know what? Our club needed a dent repair guy, and I can't tell you how many of those clubs that I have established myself with over the years. And dude, they literally have barbecue days, dent days, where they invite the whole club, pay for the food, invite me in. And I mean, everybody is like, do my dents. I mean, I'll do anywhere from, I've had days, man, where I've done, 20, 25 cars and motorcycle tanks. It's just one after another. I mean, lining them up, banging them out, and great way for people, again, out there in the field to be constantly pushing who you are and that you're their dent guy, and we use him in the club and everything else. But here's another one here. It's okay to do the dealers that respect you. You know, the guys that you can get in with, and it'll be far and few between, because, you know, usually those guys are being twisted and told to do it a specific way or use a specific person or whatever, but you'll break in to one or two people, and those dealers are going to be the ones that keep you rolling when, you know, you're looking for jobs and, you know, you start to think things and your mind's moving and everything, and then you go and you show up and you got 3 cars here. Well, as you're doing those 3 cars, your mind kind of melts away, all the fears and everything, and bam, there's a call that comes in. There's something else you can tell them to come meet you because you're in that area. Those are things that I live by. I've taught a lot of people that. Here's a bunch of different people, man. We got Kevin Bird offering advice. We got, let's see here. We got another one saying, go out and grind, period, point blank. That is a great comment, because I agree with that. What do you think about that, man, as far as grinding and everything? I know this week is, you're like, what do I do? But are you grinding right now, man? What's your plans right now?
I am, I'm fielding some calls. I've got, I know this is like a hot, cold topic, but I jumped on board with 1-800-DENT-DOC. I figured some money was better than no money. Mm-hmm. At least it's a good place to start. And I've gotten a few already for them because they don't have anybody in my area. So that's been a plus.
You're gonna find that in just about any area you go. I'm sorry. That's horrible. I mean, I'm sorry. But you know what? You're right. You're right. Do your thing.
I just took it as an opportunity. Look, I'd rather it's just another source to grab some income from. It's another source that kind of goes back to what you guys are saying. It's another opportunity to meet somebody, introduce myself, hand them my card. That 1-800-DENT-DOC doesn't work for everything. Their actual scale of what they'll fix is so small that I'm willing to bet half the jobs are not even repairable under their circumstances, but at least it gives them the opportunity and me the opportunity to get in front of them, give them my card, tell them my spiel, and maybe upsell them on my service.
Right.
So, or it's somewhere down the road where they're going, hey, you know, I had 1-800-DENT-DOC, but this guy's in Hartford and he just showed up and, you know, here's his card. Maybe he can help you out.
Right.
It's just another avenue. And,
it is,
you know, currently
avenue.
I'm working
I totally agree. I was just giving you fun, dude, because, you know, it drives me nuts if I go out and I drive there and I've sourced the customer, you know, I've talked to them, I've helped them out. I've taken their picture calls. I've, you know, done all the stuff, set the appointment up, told 1-800-DENT-DOC, and then I show up and it's like, that is totally a doable dent, man. I mean, you're licking your chops. You're like, dude, this is all day long, a $300-400 job. I mean, dude, I don't even care. I'll do it for $150 because I know I can pound this out. And you call them up and you tell them, you know, it's just, no, sorry, we do not pay. I need you to tell the customer that we're denying that claim. And it's like, no, you know, and then you tell the customer, then people are pissed, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh. But here's the upside. I've had several people, I've actually been to talks with people actually, you know, where people literally base their almost 90% of their business on these companies and their insurance claims for prepaid dent insurance, dude. And they work it. I mean, they literally work it in every aspect possible. And you know what? Even once they're done with this, now you can talk to the customer and let them know, you know, hey, this is my spiel. I go, you know what? How many times are you going to have a dent? Are you going to have, what did you pay for the program? Are you going to have that much dent repaired during the life of the program? Well, I'll tell you what, you keep me on call, and next time you buy a brand new car, you come talk to me. You come talk to me and I'll set you in the right path and I'll take care of you. And, you know, go ahead and do that dent. How much are you going to charge for it? $300. I'll take care of them when I'm done here, but I want you to just go ahead and do it. I can't tell you how many times that's been the case too, but there's all kinds of ways to spin it, man. I just believe there's always a way.
I had a customer show up with an F350 dually, and it was an aluminum fender, aluminum hood. It's a 2.5 to 3 inch dent on both panels. And I looked at them and I'm like, look, these are both doable dents. I said, I can take care of these. And he started to question about the cost. And before I could even answer it, he goes, I got one of those dent warranties. And I'm like, that's going to be a problem. And he goes, why? I said, I don't think they're going to cover this. And he says, well, what am I looking at for cost if they don't cover it? And I said, you're going to be about $650. And he goes, okay. So he goes round and round with the insurance company, sends me the information. I call him back. They're like, yeah, we only pay $75. I said, well, good luck finding somebody to do that. And he goes, well, we'll call our local guy. And I'm like, yeah, see, the reason he came to me was because you don't have a local guy because you don't pay anything. And I asked him, I said, do you have a problem with me taking that $150? I said, and the customer paying the difference? And they're like, nope. I was like,
nope.
Okay. So I just reached back to the customer. I'm like, look, they're not going to pay you more than, $150 for both of those. I said,
Right.
If you want to move forward, I'll continue the program. I'll take their $150. You would have to pay the difference. He says, give me a couple of weeks. Let me think about that.
Bam. There's another one. I love it. I love it, man. And you get after a while, it just starts clicking. I mean, dude, you're on your second day. But if you just keep doing that each day, man, believe me, they all start coming in to the point to where it's like, you'll see. It'll come.
I took this to slow down. Hold on a minute.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah,
I want you to say something. You were saying something? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, you're like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, I went independent to slow down. Hold on a minute.
It gets, and I'm blessed. I don't want to give the opinion with my actions or what I'm saying here with that. I don't respect the business that I built or the people that come in or the customers. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am right now without all my customers, but I'll tell you what, there's times, dude, where, you're 60 calls, dude. You've sourced 60 calls in a day. You've got, 15 things, done. You got 2 technicians out working. Your phone literally, the minute you hang up, it rings again. I mean, every single time. And you know what? It does get overwhelming, but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. There are days that it slows down just a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? I need to go and I need to call these people and I need to figure out what's going on. But you'll see. It's I call it the Dent Addiction. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, bro?
I'd like to say I'm somewhere, and only because of the guys that I truly pay attention to, and I moderate what others have done. So if I just said that there was a handful of guys that I look at and I idolize, envy, however you want to look at it, their business model, their success. If I could can you, if I could can Matt Moore, if I could can Grom, I'd say Bryce Kelly, but boy, that's leaps and bounds. That guy just.
Yeah, you gotta be like a savant, bro. You gotta be, you're like the Liberace. You're like the Liberace of dents.
I want to take a little bit of what everybody's doing for my own. I want to be, ideally, I want to be brick and mortar. In my head, that's where I've always kind of wanted to go. I'm like, man, I just want to shop. Mm-hmm. I want to roll in every day. I want to have the cars coming to me, and I want to be able to sit in my environment without having to run around, get in a car, drive from place to place like an idiot. And of course, I reference the idiot part because of Dent Wizard, because you're constantly running like crazy. I don't know how much running a Bryce Kelly does, a Sal Contreras does, Hudson Tansey for that matter, because he's a mobile, respected dent guy. I know you have your shop. I know you got a couple of guys that are out there hustling on the road for you. I think that's fantastic. You and Matt Moore that I know of are in that situation where I go, man, I'd like to have a couple of guys for me. Listen, I'm not getting younger by any means. I'm going to be 47 in a month. I don't have that large window of time where I've got, hey, let me build on this for 10, 15 years and then think about it. I would say in 5 years, I'd like to be brick and mortar and pondering, if not already having somebody working for me, under me, with me, however you may look at that. Really want to brand it and be the guy in the central Connecticut area. Southern Connecticut's got Danny D Dents. I love Danny. Danny and I send work back and forth to each other just because we're an hour apart. And if we get phone calls down near each other, we're like, hey, look, just go see Danny. You're a long way from me, and you're 15 minutes from him. And he does the same likewise. And I think that's how it should work. I got Mike Ziamba that's over. He's got the Farmington, Avon, Canton kind of corner going on. I know he does a little bit up in Manchester, but again, it's a trade. It's a trade-off.
You are, hey, dude, the sky is the limit. Here's the thing, dude, sky's the limit. You can do anything that you want. You've already got 23 years of expertise of doing the dents, of the situations that come around to being a paintless dent repair guy, retail, wholesale. You've done them both. You know everything that there is. You've got so much more arsenal in your bag, so much more artillery in your bag than what, let's say, a guy that was just trained coming out, to where you don't have to worry about, any of those situations that those guys, I mean, you talk about petrified. I couldn't imagine even trying to understand half of what guys like me even say, because I have no idea what it's about, where you definitely know how to absorb some of the advice that some of these guys that have been doing it for years, would be able to give you and so forth. But I'll tell you, being ahead of the curve, someone just commented here, being ahead of the curve, dude, you are that, most definitely. So if I could leave you with any key tidbits, we'll just call them, any key little things on rolling forward, never say I can't, never say but they, what I don't want or this, what, take a deep breath every time that somebody comes in and you're ready to go. Yeah, but okay. So what's being thrown at me here? Because you know what, a lot of times in my experience, the times that I have taken a deep breath and just absorbed what is coming at me as far as, hey, I've got this account, or I know this person or something like that. Boom. I just picked up something totally away from what was being put in my field. And now I'm rocking and rolling with something totally different. You would have never thought that would be the case of what I just got hooked up with because I was open. If you're available, and I say this all the time, I write it down, I post it on Facebooks. If you're available, you're going to be just fine, dude, but you have to make yourself available. And I know you'd commented earlier about, being there in 30 minutes, whatever, hey, dude, sometimes, bro, that's the world we live in. That's the job we took, man. We got to run, you know what I'm saying? So being available, dude, will be your best asset.
I'm going to go just
being available.
Back up just a little bit. When when we sit there and you talk about being well-rounded, I think back through my 23 years with Dent Wizard, and this is where I'm very appreciative of the company and what my opportunities were. I've been a route tech. I've worked in an auction. I ran the retail store at one point. I was the assistant manager, but I was also the dent guy as well.
Right.
I was a manager down in Texas for a couple of years, running a Mannheim, an Odessa, and Houston Hobby Auto Auction. I've been the floater. I've been the hail sites. I've done commercial hail. And I've done some retail for me. So I feel personable enough that I can walk into any room and talk to just about anybody, whether I like you or not. I can still get along with you. I know how to put that bullshit aside and be like, you know what, he and I don't align, but socially I can still walk in a room, be cordial, and shake hands and talk business.
That you were with this big corporation, working around other people, doing dealers and doing everything else, you know how to schedule your time on a daily basis down to the 10-minute mark every 10 minutes. And dude, I learned this when I was working for, Dent Pro. That's one huge thing I took away from him was, dude, I know how to, okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'm supposed to be at this number right now. I've also got this stuff laid out for me. I have these 2 dealerships I need to be at. I've got these calls coming in. This customer's meeting me. So many people get flustered, dude, and they just completely drop the ball. Being in that environment, I guarantee you, working with Dent Wizard and stuff like that, you've got that lick, dude, especially after 23 years. So many people really struggle with that.
One thing I've learned over the course of my years is never be afraid to call that customer that you're running late to and let them know you're running late.
ahead of time.
You're
not after the appointment though.
Correct. Right. You know, you start looking at that clock and you're going, there's no way I'm going to make that. That's when you pick the phone and be like, you know, Mr. So-and-so or dealer so-and-so, hey, listen, I know I'm supposed to be there at noon. I'm not going to get there till 1 o'clock. You know, the customer I'm at, you know, the job was bigger than I expected, took longer than expected, or they gave me another car. Those are usually the three things that happen to you. So as long as you let them know and give them a heads up, I mean, people generally appreciate that. How many times you sit at home and you're waiting for the appliance guy to show up at your house? It's supposed to be there between 8 and 10, or the Comcast guy and doesn't show up till
Comcast. 2. Oh, yeah. You need to hire an assistant just to greet the Comcast guy, man. I mean, I know it's crazy. Hey, hey, David, I wish you the best, bud. And I am on tap for you. If you need to have any, if you need some advice, man, if you need anything, I'm not the end all be all, but, you know, I do coach some people and people reached out to me and you know, I do it. No, it's not for money. It's more for, the knowledge and knowing that, they're being steered in the right direction, man. And I'd be happy to help however I can. I do have to end it short. I can hear customers pulling up outside. You know, I got plenty of work for you, bro. Come on out here anytime. Right. But you'll do just fine, bro. You'll do just fine, man. Is there anything you want to tell the audience before you go?
First off, thank you. Appreciate your time. I appreciate you in every way. Getting to hang out with you a little bit in California and, you know, getting some one-on-one time with you after all these years was nice. To everybody that has reached out and said, hey, whatever you need, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the industry. It's been awesome. It's been unbelievable, some of the messages that I've received. So I'm really looking forward to this next adventure and hopefully killing it. And
you will.
Hopefully I can be the guy that passes it on to the next guy, because I'll have gained the knowledge in 4 or 5 years, and I see the next struggling guy that's showing up on the door going, hey, I'm new to this. What do I do? So
that's true. Well, man, you'll do just fine, dude. You have yourself an awesome day. I'm going to quit taking that time away from you here and let you get back to work, let you get back to pushing. But David White, everybody, starting his new business. It's CT Dent Works, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, he's rocking and rolling.
So
you have a good day.
Brother. You too,
right, man.
Talk to you later.
Great guy. He's got his mind on straight. He's moving forward. He's going to kill it. He'll do just fine. You know, this business is, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but with someone that's been doing it for 23 years, he's going to be just fine. It'll be just like playing the piano or riding the bike, man. You never forget. With that, I want to thank you, everyone, for watching the Dentologist Live. You know, each week I have someone else on that, you know, either we have a lot in common or nothing at all. But I'll tell you one thing we do have in common, and that's paintless dent repair. And and so many people that are passionate about it. Those are the ones that I really love to have on the show. So I would again like to thank our sponsors, Mobile Tech Shade, Simply the Best, Rain or Shine, and Dent Man Tools. Jesse has got some tools. I'd like to thank Randy Hobson and him for putting on this format with PDR interviews. And with that, I'm done. You guys have a wonderful day. Remember to be kind to yourself and kind to others, and have a great week. I'll see everyone next week with a new guest, and make it a great day. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.